Section 1. The Paradox of Freedom. Why modern success feels so empty. Have you ever achieved a huge goal but felt completely empty inside? It is a strange feeling, isn't it? In modern society, we are taught to be totally independent. We chase personal freedom, high income, and individual success. We believe that being a lone island is the ultimate strength. But what if this exact belief is a trap? What if hyper-individualism is the true cause of our anxiety? Think about it. We control our lives, we optimize our time, and we depend on no one. Yet loneliness is at an all-time high. The more independent we become, the more isolated we feel. This is the paradox of modern freedom. We have broken free from traditional communities. We have won the right to define ourselves. But in the process, we lost the invisible threads that keep us grounded. Let's look at how we measure worth today. Everything is about personal productivity and self-reliance. If you fail, it is your fault. If you succeed, you must celebrate alone. This constant pressure creates a quiet madness inside our minds. It makes us view other people as competitors or just tools for our networking. We forget how to just be with someone. We forget how to share a space without an agenda. As a result, our inner world starts to shrink. We are connected to the whole world via the internet, but we feel utterly unseen. Our hearts are starving for a resonance that logic cannot provide. Is it truly possible to be happy entirely by yourself? Can a single isolated atom experience genuine joy? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever felt this deep loneliness right after a big personal achievement? Drop a comment below and let me know your experience. In this video, we will explore a completely different way of looking at reality, a way that fixes this modern glitch. Section 2. The cartographic mind versus the living flow. How we perceive reality. To understand why we feel so isolated, we need to look at our mental lenses. How do we actually perceive reality? For centuries, mainstream Western thought has used what I call the cartographic mind. This mindset loves to draw lines, make maps, and divide the world into neat boxes. It started with famous thinkers like René Descartes. He famously separated the mind from the body and the self from the world. In this view, the universe is like a giant machine. Everything is made of isolated atoms, just bumping into each other. You are in here and the world is out there. To understand something, you must separate it, label it, and analyze it. This approach is incredible for science and technology. It gave us modern medicine, space travel, and the smartphones in our pockets. But this analytical lens has a dark side. When you apply it to human life, it breaks our connection to reality. You begin to see yourself as a separate object. You view nature as a resource to conquer. You view other people as separate islands. It creates a deep mental distance between subject and object. You become an outside observer, looking at life through a glass window. But is this division actually real? Traditional Eastern thought offers a completely different lens. It sees reality not as a collection of fixed blocks, but as a living flow. Think of the ocean. Can you point to a single wave and say it is entirely separate from the sea? Of course not. The wave is just something the ocean is doing in that moment. In the same way, you are not an isolated entity dropped into the universe. You are an expression of the universe itself. This means your boundaries are not nearly as solid as you think. Next, let's meet the philosopher, who used this exact idea to bridge the gap between East and West. Section 3. Meet Kitaro Nishida, the man who weaponized Zen to fix Western logic. Imagine a man who mastered the deepest secrets of Western philosophy, but felt his own heart screaming. This is not how life actually feels. That man was Kitaro Nishida. Writing in the early 20th century, he became the founder of the famous Kyoto school. Nishida loved Western logic. He studied Kant, Hegel, and Descartes intensely. Yet he noticed a critical flaw. Western logic always started after the mind, had already split reality into pieces. Nishida wanted to capture the world before that split happens. To do this, he took a radical step. He combined his rigorous training in Western philosophy with his deep personal practice of Zen meditation. The result was a groundbreaking concept he called pure experience. What exactly is pure experience? It is reality in its rawest, most direct form. It is the exact moment of perception, before you even have time to think about it. Nishida gave a simple but profound example. Think of the moment you hear a beautiful musical note or see a breathtaking color. In that exact millisecond, there is no me listening to a sound. There is no subject looking at an object. There is only the pure, undivided experience of the sound itself. The self and the world are completely one. Only a moment later does your intellect step in. Your brain says, "Oh, I am hearing a piano." The map-making mind creates a distance. It creates an illusion of separation. Nishida argued that this secondary split is what causes our modern suffering. We mistake the analytical map for the actual territory of life. By weaponizing the stillness of Zen, Nishida gave us a rigorous language to talk about unity. He proved that our truest reality is not isolation, but a beautiful, undivided oneness. So, how does this oneness play out in our daily interactions with other people? Let's look at the fascinating physics of human connection. Section 4. The coupling phenomenon. Why the isolated me is an illusion. Let's apply this philosophy to your everyday relationships. Think about a great conversation you recently had with a close friend. You bounce ideas back and forth. You laugh at the exact same time, and words just flow naturally. In those moments, who is actually directing the conversation? Is it you or is it your friend? The truth is, it is neither, and it is both. In Eastern thought, we call this the coupling phenomenon. You do not exist as a fixed, independent robot who just reacts to another robot. Instead, you and your friend create a temporary, undivided system. Your next sentence exists only because of what they just said. Their facial expression changes only because of the tone of your voice. You are deeply coupled. This is very similar to what the philosopher Martin Buber called the I and thou relationship. He argued that human reality doesn't happen inside an isolated ego. It happens in the sacred space between us. Yet, modern Western psychology often focuses purely on the isolated individual. It tells you to fix yourself, love yourself, and protect your boundaries first. But can you really fix a wave without looking at the ocean? When you realize that your identity is dynamic and coupled, the heavy burden of hyper-individualism melts away. You realize that you don't have to carry the whole world on your lonely shoulders. You are always playing a duet with reality. Your existence is an emergent dance, co-created by the environment and the people around you. But today, a new technology is threatening this beautiful dance. Let's talk about the silent danger of our modern, hyper-connected digital world. Section 5. The Digital Ghost Town. How screens mute our somatic intuition. We live in a world where we are more connected than ever before. We can text someone across the planet in a millisecond. We spend hours in remote meetings and digital chats. But have you noticed a strange paradox? Even though our screens are full of notifications, our inner world feels like a ghost town. We feel deeply detached and lonely. Why is that? From a relational viewpoint, the reason is simple. Digital communication completely mutes our somatic intuition. It cuts off our physical bodily resonance. When you talk to someone face to face, your connection is not just about the literal words. Your brains are secretly syncing up. You pick up on microscopic changes in their breathing. You feel the warmth of the room, the subtle rhythm of their pauses, and the raw energy of their presence. This is physical coupling. It is the very engine of empathy, but screens strip all of that away. A text message has no heartbeat. A video call compresses human emotion into cold data packets. In the digital matrix, we are forced to use only our map-making mind. We analyze the text, we decode the emojis, and we operate purely through intellect. We become outside observers of each other, trapped behind flat glass windows. We think we are interacting, but we are actually just looking at digital ghosts. Our bodies know the difference, and they start to starve for real resonance. This digital void is making our modern anxiety much worse, because it tricks us into thinking we are connected while keeping us profoundly isolated. So how do we fix this? How do we bring this deep, bodily intuition back into our daily lives? Let's look at how an entire culture wove this philosophy directly into their everyday habits. Section 6. Shinto and Zen in the DNA philosophy woven into daily chores. In the West, philosophy is often seen as an intellectual exercise. You read thick books, you attend lectures, and you argue in classrooms. It lives inside your head. But in the East, and especially in Japan, philosophy is not something you just think about. It is something you do with your body. It is completely woven into everyday chores, traditional habits, and unspoken rituals. Take a simple act like cleaning or soji. In many Zen traditions, cleaning the floor is not a boring task to finish quickly. It is not just about making a room look nice. The act of wiping the floor is the meditation itself. When you clean the space around you with full attention, you are not a separate subject fixing a separate object. You are harmonizing your own mind with the environment. The boundary between you and the room dissolves into the rhythmic movement of your hands. This deep intuition comes from the ancient roots of Shinto and Zen. In the Shinto worldview, there is no distant God in the sky, looking down at a mechanical world. Instead, the divine is present right here, inside everything. It is in the ancient trees, the rushing rivers, the rocks, and even the daily tools we use. Everything is interconnected. Everything is a gift from a larger breathing reality. This means you do not need a special temple to experience the sacred. You can experience it while washing dishes or preparing a simple meal. How does your culture view daily chores? Do you see them as annoying tasks? Or could they be a way to connect with the world? Let me know in the comments. By turning daily habits into moments of pure connection, you refresh your intuition. But why did this specific way of thinking thrive so deeply in certain places? Let's look at the fascinating secret geography of Kyoto. Section 7. The Architecture of Insight, Why Kyoto Breeds World-Class Thinkers. Have you ever wondered if a physical place can change the way your brain works? Can a specific landscape actually protect your mind from modern burnout? Let's look at Kyoto, the home of Nishida and the Kyoto School. Interestingly, Kyoto has produced an incredible number of world-class thinkers, artists, and Nobel Prize winners. This is not a random coincidence. It is deeply connected to the unique spiritual geography of the city. Kyoto is a valley, naturally surrounded by majestic mountains. On the eastern side flows the Kamogawa River with the sacred Memph, Yoshida standing quietly behind it. In ancient times, Japanese architects designed this city, using the principles of feng shui and spiritual boundaries, or kekai. These boundaries were meant to keep out negative energy, but they also act as a powerful cognitive shield. When you walk through Kyoto, you are physically separated from the hyperspeed, noise of raw commercial capitalism. The modern world tells you to always calculate, compete, and chase the next profit. But Kyoto slows you down. When you cross the Kamogawa River, something beautiful happens to your mind. The heavy layers of social anxiety and constant evaluation start to wash away. You are stepping into a giant living shelter for the soul. In this quiet space, your map-making mind finally relaxes. Your analytical guard drops and your raw physical intuition wakes up. You stop overthinking and you start deeply perceiving the reality around you. This is why great ideas are born here. The geography itself forces you back into a state of unity with nature. It is a space where you can perceive the invisible threads that tie your life to the rest of the world. And it is within these invisible threads that we discover the most beautiful concept of Eastern reality, the law of N. Section 8. Understanding N. Redefining fate, mentorship, and serendipity. In our hyper-individualistic world, we are told that we are 100% in control of our destiny. If you meet the right mentor or land the perfect job, we call it good networking or pure luck. It is just a random roll of the dice, right? But the Eastern worldview offers a much more beautiful explanation. It is encapsulated in a single, untranslatable word, N, or interconnected fate. N means that nothing happens in a vacuum. Every single encounter in your life is a gift from a massive, invisible network of relationships. Think about the teacher who completely changed your direction in life. Think about the partner you met by a strange twist of events. Was that really just blind probability? When you look through the lens of N, you realize those moments are cosmic gifts. They are the universe folding in on itself to bring you exactly what you need. This mindset changes how you view your own achievements. You realize that you didn't create your success all by yourself. You are the product of countless invisible threads. Your parents, your ancestors, your friends, and even the natural world have all invested in you. You are carrying their energy forward. This realization replaces our modern anxiety. With a deep sense of humility and gratitude, you stop feeling the frantic need to force things to happen. Instead, you learn to trust the timing of life. You open your heart to the flow of serendipity. You realize that you are always supported by a larger web of existence. But wait, if everything is connected, does that mean we should completely erase our own ego? Not at all. In fact, true happiness requires a very special kind of egoism. Let's look at this mind-bending paradox. Section 9, Radical Egoism. Why true self-love forces you to elevate others. Let's look at a mind-bending paradox that completely flips the Western idea of selfishness. Modern self-help culture often tells you to protect your energy at all costs. It tells you to cut off difficult people, focus only on your personal goals, and treat happiness as a private project. We are conditioned to think that egoism means ignoring the world to save yourself. But what if that is actually bad math? What if true egoism requires the exact opposite? Let's call this concept radical egoism. If you truly, deeply obsess over your own highest fulfillment, you will quickly run into a concrete wall. You will realize that your personal joy cannot survive in a vacuum. You cannot be genuinely happy if your family is suffering, if your community is broken, or if the people around you are trapped in anxiety. Because you are deeply coupled with your environment, their low energy will inevitably drag you down. Therefore, if you want to be completely selfish about your happiness, you have no choice but to lift up the people in front of you. You must make sure your partner thrives. You must invest your energy into your community. You must care for the environment. You do this not out of a heavy sense of moral duty or self-sacrifice. You do it because you understand the relational physics of reality. Elevating others is the highest, most effective form of self-love. This is what psychologist Erich Fromm meant when he said we should never separate self-love from the love of others. When you hide behind a social facade, or when you treat others as tools, you are just masking your own fear. True, raw honesty forces you to step out of your isolated shell. Genuine fulfillment is never a solo achievement. It is a shared masterpiece. Section 10. The Two Lens. Life integrating Western drive with Eastern intuition. So where do we go from here? Does this mean you should completely abandon Western logic? Move to Kyoto and spend the rest of your life meditating in a Zen temple? Of course not. Western analytical logic is a beautiful, powerful tool. It builds societies, solves technical problems, and drives human progress. The goal is not to destroy the map-making mind, but to stop living inside the map. The ultimate way to navigate the modern world is to live a two-lens life. Imagine being able to switch between Western drive and Eastern intuition whenever you need to. When you need to organize your finances, build a business, or study for an exam, you use your analytical lens. You divide, you calculate, and you optimize. You treat the problem with sharp, focused logic. But the moment you step away from your desk, you change your lens. When you walk into your home, you drop the map. You look at your partner or your children, not as objects to manage, but as an undivided extension of yourself. You listen to them with your entire body, allowing your somatic intuition to sync up with theirs. When you eat a meal, you don't just count the calories. You taste the raw reality of the food, feeling gratitude for the massive web of in that brought it to your plate. By integrating these two worldviews, you fix the modern glitch of hyper-individualism. You retain your personal power and drive, but you cure your underlying loneliness. You realize that you are both a unique individual wave and the majestic ocean itself. You are completely independent, yet deeply coupled with the universe. Thank you for watching this deep dive into reality. If this perspective shifted something inside you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more insights. Live fully, love deeply, and stay connected to the flow.